Dr. Sidwani is the Assistant Professor, Organization Behavior, Associate Dean, RCI Lead Advanced Management Program, Executive Director, Center for Learning and Management Practice here at the Indian School of Business. Welcome, ma'am. It's an honor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to speak to you more than anything else, and more importantly, congratulate the Metamorphosis team for their phenomenal work. And when I was asked to do the keynote, I couldn't help but say no. I couldn't help but say yes, and that was because for a multitude of reasons. And one of the reasons essentially is, and I'll share a few reasons, but one of them is nearly 25 years ago when I was just about coming out of graduate school, I, along with a couple of friends, we got together and we set up an online venture. But my parents and their parents would often nag us and say, do you mind getting a real job? Or if nothing else, go do higher studies. Fast forward to pre-COVID times, my son, who was then 7 or maybe 8, under the guidance of my father, picks up some stones from across this very campus, paints them, and then sells them across this campus to people he met across, with a unique story for every stone. He made his first 482 rupees. I still can't fathom where that 482 comes from, because if at all, it should be a number which is a multiple of tens, if nothing else. But he comes back, so either somebody was given a heavy discount or somebody was overcharged. I don't know what happened. But that 428 rupees for us and for him, I think will be even more valuable than his first salary that he will ever draw, which I hope he will at some point in life. The experience, in my view, gave him the feeling of independence, the feeling of self-worth, ability to accomplish and achieve whatever he wanted. Besides, the money gave him the power to blackmail his mother and turn around and say, if you don't buy me this, I'll buy it with my own money. And believe you me, I don't know how many times that money has been recycled, or that threat has been recycled. Hopefully, such endeavors and more will allow us and our children to solve real problems and understand the finer nuances of challenges of business. Life, in some ways, has come a full circle for many of us. And I say this in behalf of students who've just had their placements at ISB. Same entrepreneurship which was seen not mainstream many years ago, or sometimes, or in fact, we were very often told that this is not a profession for a middle-class, educated child. You have to find something more mainstream. So to now becoming absolutely central to children and their achievements. In fact, now when we look for applications in ISB, we see how that child has done right after school to after working and his work experience, how much of it was entrepreneurial, how much of it was just about having worked for someone. And no prizes for guessing, an entrepreneurial spirit does outweigh anything else that we weigh for. Solving novel problems, solving old problems in new ways, solving new problems that we've not even thought about is the very premise of entrepreneurship. As an academic, I cannot emphasize the need for an entrepreneurial mindset enough. It is not a luxury anymore. It is a necessity that stems from the world that we live in. And why do I say that? Considering I teach strategy, I can very safely say that the world that we live in is absolutely complex. Some of it is our own creation. We've added to that complexity. But our old ways of solving problems will not work. And we need our kids to kind of come up with ways to solve them for us. And we need to empower them to build that. I mean, I'm sitting in front of some of the most illustrious principals of the Tri-Cities, so with all humility, I'm going to say this. Unfortunately, mainstream education doesn't provide for enough of that. The mainstream education needs to supplement, in some ways, the whole process of thinking out of the box. And that, in some sense, entrepreneurship does do that. As a professor who teaches business for a living and who's been a consultant long enough, I can safely say that it is never too early to learn entrepreneurship. Being an entrepreneur, one learns how to spot opportunities, solve real problems, and most effective and novel ways. And going forward, it is going to be an essential skill if it isn't already. Entrepreneurship, I believe, is a lot like flexing a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more you ingrain it. And it takes time to build. Hence, it is paramount that this skill is imparted early on. Secondly, it not only helps build cognitive skills, but it also helps build emotional skills, which include something as basic as confidence boost. In order to raise a generation which is confident, self-reliant, and successful, entrepreneurship is an essential skill going forward. And I believe with every cell in my body, both as a mother and as an academic. Hence, I only hope we find ways to make entrepreneurial education more and more mainstream. We need it to play a central role in our education system. And with that note, I wish the Metamorphosis team the very best, that you're able to achieve the vision that you've set out to, and may you impact not only just 100,000, but a lot more children. Thank you.